Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another Starcraft commentary, and really looking forward to this match. This is something that was recommended to me in a Twitch chat, and this is a game between Cal and ZerO. And Cal, if you are not super remembering him, he was actually considered one of the six dragons. He was kind of like the least of the six dragons, but he was still one of the six dragons. Like he was consistent for a little while, getting into the Star Leagues, and I believe he got to. I don't think he ever won anything, but he got up to the semifinals a couple times, if I remember correctly, and was just, very solid in general. Like someone who you could count on that had really good play against all races and a very significantly decent record as well. So Cal, very, very strong. ZerO is, of course, a player who was in the same boat, who was someone that you could say was someone who was solid but didn't really win anything for a while. But he ended up really coming into his own towards like the end of this age of Starcraft, and he was a semi-finalist in the last ever OSL, the TVing OSL, in 2012, and he was actually beaten by Zhangbi, and Zhangbi ended up going to the finals and winning that. But ZerO was there in the semifinals, and it was very, very close. ZerO was almost in the finals instead of Zhangbi in that series. So ZerO is also just one of my favorite players because he is so creative, and he actually like makes stuff work that doesn't usually work. And I think I've talked about him in a game I casted him before, but I'm gonna repeat myself a little bit. But basically, like ZerO, for example, he was the first one to really revolutionize Zerg versus Zerg in like 29 or 10. And started building defensive buildings and turning it into a long game. It used to be that ZVZ was just a rock paper scissors 9 pool 12 pool 12 hatch, and it was just like over quickly. You did Ling versus Ling, and if no one died, you did Muta versus Muta, and that was all it was. It was never got above 2 base play. No one ever got more than like 15 drones, and it was very, very quick. And ZerO said, nah, screw that. I'm going to make defensive buildings and draw this out and drone up and make it a long game. And it revolutionized ZVZ. So that's just one example. Like ZerO also was one of the ones who used queens. One of the first people, not first people, but one of the only people who was able to use queens at a top level, like not just ironically or to BM, but use queens at a top level of StarCraft in like ZVT and using like ensnare strategically and stuff like that. So by the way, we do have him getting a spawning pool pretty quickly here. So going for an early aggressive stance here against Cal. Cal's got his forge up at his expansion though, so now that he's scouted quickly, he's got it very quickly. He's going to be able to get up cannons, and he's going to be fine, especially because he has cross positions, so it's not going to be too big of a deal. And actually, because it's cross positions, he's actually going to build his Nexus first, even though he sees the spawning pool and he sees Zerglings on the way, and he sees Zergling speed is going to be researched as well. I think he is feeling confident that it's going to take so long for those Lings to get across the map that it doesn't really matter, that he can still build the Nexus first. And be fine. So keep that in mind for a moment. But in any case, I just want to talk about ZerO for another second here, because ZerO now streams on Twitch. And he actually streams on Africa also, but he does a dual stream thing where he streams to both at once, and he's got actually combined chat on his stream. And this is a weird map, by the way. I'll talk about that more in a moment as well. But you just saw there a little glimpse of why it is weird, seeing as how there's permanent disruption webs on some parts of the map. And also, the natural expansion is above the main, which makes for some interesting play sometimes. It means that it's actually really disadvantageous to have your main only play one base play. You can get trapped in your main. So, that's kind of one of the reasons why we might see ZerO getting these early Zerglings is so that he doesn't get trapped. Like, make sure he has defenses against any early attacks, that he doesn't get stuck in his main or something like that. And you can see obviously that there's this extra base behind the main as well on the high ground, or behind the natural. So it's a strange map. But in any case, so I sometimes watch ZerO stream on Twitch, right? And I was in his Twitch chat the other day talking with some people about the Queen play and just really cool builds that ZerO has done. And one of the other people in the chat recommended this game, and for a very specific reason. But I'll not tell you that reason just yet, because it's going to be something very interesting. And you know, I've casted a few games recently where there have been unironic scouts used in the game, and that's been really fun to see, like units that aren't usually used. This game also has a unit that is very rarely used in it, and so, but I'm going to let it be a surprise when you guys see what unit it is. I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but I will admit that I know ahead of time, because that's what the guy in the chat was like, oh, well, you should watch this game because it's got this unit in it. And I was just like, all right, my mind is blown. I've got to cast this game. I've got to watch it. So in any case, you can see that if you go through that mineral patch, those mineral patches there, it kind of leads to this roundabout route behind the base, and so it's a kind of a good way to get a scout in, a secret scout in, and so you can actually, or a scout out. And so you can see the Zerglings are guarding the front entrance, and ZerO sent one Zergling over to those minerals, so that if he tries to glitch through a probe by using a pylon trick or a mining trick or something like that, that he'll be able to stop that probe from getting out too far and actually getting a scout onto ZerO's base. ZerO's gotten up to 3 bases right now, by the way. It's a pretty standard play here. 2 base Protoss versus 3 base Zerg. Starting to get the Stargate tech. Starting to get the... And I think we saw Hydralisk Den earlier. I could be wrong. So we'll have to see what kind of units he starts putting out, though. If he's going for mass Hydras, or if he just is going to get Lurkers or something like that. Okay, Hydra's starting to pop out. He does have the lair. So wouldn't be surprised if he's getting Lurker tech, but sometimes sometimes Zergs will make more hatcheries and just get a bunch of Hydras off 3 bases, so we'll have to see what he moves into. So anyway, very excited about this game. Looking forward to it. That probe is going back around, and now we're starting to see Corsairs come out here. And you notice that there wasn't a second Corsair being made after the first one. This Corsair is primarily a scouting unit right now. It can go past it. Oh, and there's actually a command center in the middle of the map. That's kind of interesting. Is it burning already? I guess it was like almost burning. They clicked on it and it was in like yellow health. So there's like a random burning command center just for ambiance in the middle of the map there. And next to these random disruption webs. So I wonder what, you know, I haven't actually seen a lot of games on this map, and I know I have, but it's kind of been a while, so I don't remember if those disruption webs ever actually came into play, like if they ever actually mattered in any games or anything like that. But in any case, Zerg usually gets these first few Hydras and puts some pressure on before the Protoss player has... And we're actually seeing a Queen's Nest going down. Okay, this is interesting. Usually the Protoss player, you know, gets... well, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, before they get ranged units out, because usually they're getting a lot of tech, they're getting their Corsair out, and so they don't actually get... Oh, and he actually sneaks a Dark Templar out of the gateway before the gateway dies. Just barely made it in time. That is really interesting. Corsair's going to come in here and try and harass the Overlords, but there are Hydralisks in place to stop that. I mean, this is really classic, you know, Protoss strat, right? The Sair DT, where you use the Corsairs to drive off the Overlords, and then you use the DTs once there's no Overlords to kill stuff. And ZerO is all on top of it. He's actually already got Overlord speed upgraded. It's one of the reasons he got the Lair, I guess, rather than Lurkers. And so he's going to be, well, and he's got the Queen out. He's got a Queen. He's going for the command center, and he's going to infest the command center, ladies and gentlemen. ZerO. I love this guy. I love it. I love it. Looks like he's going after the Forge, by the way, and he might actually... He needs to fall back a little bit. He's going to try and kill off the Forge before +1 weapons is finished. And if he can do that, that's actually a huge deal. At the last game I cast, I remember watching that happen, and then the Zealots came out and pushed out just in time to save that +1. But ZerO looks like he might be going for a little bit of a bust here, sending out a lot of Hydralisks across the map. Several Hydralisks. The Zerglings are tanking the hits for the Hydralisks, so that the Hydralisks are taking the hits against the Zealots, so that the Hydralisks can kill them off. That Forge is still alive, though, and it looks like he has too many Zealots now for it to be a big deal. And he's making infested Terrans. Okay, this is what I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. who else but ZerO would rush Queens to get an infested Terran? He sends in a Zergling. Nice! He sends in a Zergling to soak up the cannon hits so that the infested Terran can get close enough to the Zealots. And he's continuing to make infested Terrans. These are unironic infested Terrans, ladies and gentlemen. Actually using them to great effect here. The Forge is still spinning. It looks like he's not. I'm surprised he's actually not pushing in with those Hydras a little bit more to try and kill off that Forge when he has the chance, but he's just focusing on these infested Terrans. Now we've got a little bit of a game of chicken. This is almost like Starcraft 2, where you've got the Banelings, and, you know, like in ZVZ especially, you see Banelings will obviously explode and do a lot of damage, and so Zerg will end up, the other Zerg will often end up sending a single Zergling out to try and kill off the Baneling. And oh, he's got, does he have drop? Is he gonna drop infested Terrans? Or something? Or lurkers? What is he doing? Is he just scouting? Maybe he's just scouting. Maybe I'm just excited for nothing. But if there's infested Terrans in that Overlord, and he's gonna drop it on top of the probe line, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? He drops it out! What happened? Did it get killed? Oh man, it didn't go off. What just happened there? How did that not go off? Was it just really the worst timing, and the infested Terran like targeted the wrong? You know, he's trying to run into the middle. He's trying to go after the High Templar. He gets one of the High Templar on a Zealot. Nicely done. And these are actually paying off. When he kills 2 Zealots, or if he kills a High Templar, it's actually worth the cost of the infested Terran, which I believe are 100. I think they're 100 minerals and gas. He's gonna load up another Terran inside of that Overlord, and he's like got these Overlords have become bombers. They're trying to drop a bomb on top of him. He does. He drops to the top. He kills the High Templar and the Dragoon. Oh my God, this is amazing. This is actually working. He's trying to push in now. He's gonna kill off that Forge. There's 5 cannons though, so it's gonna be really hard for him to actually push in and break the Protoss player. Protoss is looking to set up in the top right as well. Now, I actually didn't see it. Looks like there might have been another infested Terran in there, but he's got some Hydralisks in there as well, I believe. He's going to go and try and go in, and this is just beautiful. He's going to try and drop it on top of the cannon. High infested Terran kills off 3 cannons! Oh my God, this is epic! Oh my God, he's actually making infested Terrans happen in Zerg versus of all matchups, Zerg versus Protoss. This is just insane. And I mean, that must have been what they had in mind when they made this map, with a burning command center. Like, it wasn't even a full health command center. You had to knock it down. It's actually a burning command center specifically for this purpose, and leave it to ZerO to actually make it work. And did he parasited a Dragoon as well? Parasite is actually really good if you get the Queens. Parasite is, you know, you can get so much vision off it, and here he is pushing with a lot of Hydralisks, and Cal is just trying to push out, but he just didn't have the forces. He lost a lot of Zealots, having to run back to his base here. And do those Templar have Storm Energy? It looks like maybe they don't have Storm Energy yet. Otherwise, he would have laid down a Storm on top of all those. ZerO getting a 4th base off at the top middle of the map, whereas Cal is getting that top right base, which I believe is a mineral only. So it's not going to help him put out more Templar, but it's going to help him get more Zealots on the map, which is going to be really handy in this situation. And wow, ZerO is just mounting up. It looks like he's mounting up to go in for a killing blow here off of these 3 bases. Obviously, he is getting a 4th base, but I think he really wants to seal the deal here, getting more infested Terrans. Oh no, the infested Terrans! Are they getting picked off? What is... Oh, they did go off! He kills 3 Dragoons! Where's the Storms? There's the Storm. He dodges out of the Storm, but back into it a little bit. Another beautiful Storm going off on top of the Hydras. Another beautiful Storm finishing off those Hydras. But it looks like there's just too many Hydras and not enough Storms. The Lurkers are there to reinforce as well. He didn't kill off the Lurkers. I don't know if he even has Observers. And losing those 3 Dragoons at the beginning of the battle was crucial. Losing those Dragoons was really, really bad. The Dragoons, of course, are going to be one of your best damage outputs against the Lurkers. They can stay out of range and just, you know, stay behind the Zealots and add firepower and let the Zealots soak up the damage. He's going to Hive now. ZerO's going to a Hive, and who knows what craziness he's going to be popping out as a result of this. Overlord is chilling above that top right base, knowing it's pretty much undefended, so I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe drops a few Hydralisks. That would actually be a good move, to drop a few Hydras over there and do some damage. A Zealot has snuck out and is harassing the 4th base of ZerO, but It's going to get pretty quickly chased away, and he's continuing to make infested Terrans out of this command center. This is epic. He's not letting the pressure up either. This is interesting that he's trying to contain Cal. Cal is pushed out to try and emerge from this contain 3 or 4 times, and each time he gets shut back down and pushed back into his base. The lurkers are out now, but I don't know if he has enough to really deal with those lurkers. And he parasited the Templar. He parasited the High Templar, which again, now he has full vision of Cal's army. So if Cal is moving around, if Cal's moving around with his army, he can spot it. But 2, he can actually target fire them really easily from off vision. He can know where those High Templar are. And the Zealot is trying to push out again to try and detonate some of those infested Terrans prematurely. So they aren't going to be a huge thing in the battle. And yeah, this is just really cool. Another Terran going in. He's going to get another High Templar. I think it was probably out of energy, so it's not a huge deal. Actually, it might have been in Cal's favor in that situation because he didn't get a clump of units. He's going with Zerglings to soak up fire in the 10th Fed. There goes in the middle. Kills off another couple Zealots. Damages the other Zealots that are in the area as well. And here comes in that, oh, the Hydralisks stand underneath the storm for a little bit too long. Couple go down. The lurkers are pretty damaged, and there's only a few lurkers here. He's actually, think about all of the infested Terrans that he's made, right? And he's made, what, like 7 or 8 or 9 of them? At least, something like that. That is 6 more lurkers that he could have in this contain, and that could be, that's a lot of potential long-term damage that he's missing out on. But he's been, it doesn't matter because this is just so freaking awesome to see him actually using, and he goes in and every time he's getting some kills, and this is just keeping Cal's army down, which, I mean, that's the thing is, when you're contained as a Protoss, especially if you're Protoss with access to a 3rd base, right? Then you can just chill, get your tech up, get your army up, wait till you have a giant ball of death, and then just push out with 1,000,000 High Templar, storm your way to victory, and push through the Zerg swarm with just a ball of death that just cannot be killed. And looks like ZerO is finally going to drop some Hydras and other units over that supply line to try and get in the back of Cal's base. But anyway, Cal looks like he might be trying to push out again a little bit desperately, knowing that some forces are distracted at his other base. Can he get out of this, though? Another storm goes down on top of the Hydras. They dodge out of it again, dodging out of another storm. But Cal has, I think, a few more storms left in the bag. Zerglings are coming in to reinforce, and there's another infested Terran coming in to help out. It's going to go in from the side. He's going to try and detonate in the middle. He gets a couple Dragoons. Beautiful, beautiful play. And more Zealots coming in from the side, though. Is it going to be enough, though? They don't have the Dragoons firing from over their shoulders right now. And so it's just Zealots versus kiting Hydralisks. And it looks like there is going to be enough Zealots to push ZerO back out again. But finally, Cal, and oh, he's going to get a big, oh, beautiful. He gets, oh man, the infested Terran goes off and kills a lot of, well, a few Zealots, but it's going to slowly whittle things down, and that is the bulk of the army coming in. Another batch of Zerglings and Hydras, and that's going to be too much for Cal to deal with. He's going to have to run for the hills again. And that's what I was trying to talk about before, is usually the Protoss player wants to sit back and build a death ball and then move out with an unstoppable force. And because he's been harassed so much, and because these infested Terrans have been keeping his army count down and keeping the High Templar count down, he goes in with an, oh, that one actually killed. Oh, wow, huge explosions going on. In this case, it was just an Archon exploding, but, and, oh, wow, a whiff of a storm there, a little bit. Cal is being pushed back into his base, though. Does he have any more storms saved up? And he's actually, this is another crucial thing, is he's losing some of his High Templar in these move commands, and so he's not able to, usually you want to cast these storms and then fall back and make Archons, and oh no, another one went off. GG coming from Cal. He cannot push out. He was losing the back of his base as well to that drop, and just absolutely ridiculous epic play by ZerO, who, by the way, goes by Queen now. In case you're curious, he did change his name, and he's still going strong, by the way. You know, I mentioned that he got to the semifinals of the last OSL, but he has actually since won some tournaments. I didn't get a chance to mention that because things got crazy really quick. But ZerO, just showing a spark, a little bit of the genius that I know of him, that one of the reasons why I love him as a player, playing with infested Terrans and just doing beautifully. And I kept trying to make this point, but the game kept getting in the way. But yeah, the Protoss wants to move out with their Death Ball, and by whittling those forces down, Cal was never able to get the Death Ball, right? He was never able to actually get so many units that he was unstoppable, and he could just move out and start harassing and killing ZerO's bases around the map, what have you. And, it was all because he kept running in these infested Terrans and blowing up a couple units and blowing up a couple units and blowing up a few cannons and continuing to produce Hydralisks and just putting so much pressure on. He eventually did get that 4th base, but he was just building a ton of units off of just the 3 bases and just building up massive amounts of Hydralisks just outside Cal's front door, making it so he couldn't move out. And just doing a beautiful job, too, of when Cal did move out, he was, ZerO was dodging all the Psy Storms, and so Cal just wasn't quite able to do enough damage, basically, with the units that he had, and wasn't able to pull it off in the end. I'm trying to watch it right now, like as I'm talking about the post game. I'm trying to watch right now if there was a point in time. I don't know if he had burrowed. There was a couple times when I saw some explosions. I didn't know what happened, and I wonder if he was actually burrowing the infested Terrans and then blowing them up at the right moment, or if they were just walking in and I just didn't see them. So anyway, but that would have been pretty epic if that's what he did as well. But just beautiful play, just so cool to see ZerO pulling this off. And anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. Again, I am going to be. I've been doing a few other random Pro League games that are fun, but I'm trying to figure out which OSL to do, and probably starting next week, I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 more replay casts if I can find some good replays, and then starting, I guess this week, later this week, depending on how you count the start of the weeks, I'm going to be starting on the OSL. I'm going to cast the OSL, one of the OSLs from all the way through. I might do, there was one from 2004 that Artosis actually mentioned in the Pylon show that he talked about was a really good one. He did spoil the ending, but I think that's okay in this situation. I might, because if he thinks it was a really, really epic OSL, it might be a good reason to watch it through anyway. So, all right, anyway, I've been rambling past the end of this game for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off there and say again that I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more coming soon.